6. The first of 11 trucks carrying 25-ton steel girders pulled into the construction site at 54th Street and US 131 northbound at about 10:30 this morning.
Turned out good. Yeah. It really did. I even had called my boss this morning. He was so happy he was singing that we got here when we did. Great.
One by one, the steel girders were hoisted up, set in place, and secured. A project that Michigan Department of Transportation officials say should be completed by this broadcast. But the project wasn't pulled off without a hitch. Preliminary planning suggested closing the expressway at half-hour intervals, but a detour was set up instead.
Our construction operations that we had scheduled didn't count on 2 beams per vehicle. And to stabilize those vehicles and then load both those beams at one operation would have taken much more time than we anticipated. Would have backed the freeway up quite far and really inconvenienced the public, so we decided to go to a detour situation instead.
According to the MDOT official, the construction here was necessary to smooth traffic flow, and early reports from the 68th Street detour showed no major problems. 11 more beams are scheduled to be placed starting Thursday morning, but detour plans for that project have not yet been set. MDOT officials say they'll try their hardest not to inconvenience the traveler. In Grand Rapids, I'm Cheryl Grant, TV 13 Eyewitness News. This is a grant package on cultural consolidation for May 14th, 1986. Hello, hello. Yeah.
We don't have it down by awards, but we won!
Both those for and those against the proposed 2.1 mil tax increase say there is a need for improved cultural services in Kent County and the city of Grand Rapids. But the question of how to fund those improvements appears to be the sticking point. Opponents to the proposed cultural consolidation plan say the proposal asks for too much money. They say cultural services are important, but the proposal to provide such services must be reasonable.
I believe that people were aware that this was far too much money to ask for these institutions and that they weren't willing to lose their control. And I think the voters have spoken and said that culture is important, and I think that people will be willing to support it countywide if it's a reasonable proposal. And I think now we can go ahead and have some public hearings and come up with something that will be really reasonable for the taxpayers.
In Grand Rapids, turnout was light in yesterday's election, with only 15% of the voters casting ballots. The 2.1 mil tax levy was easily defeated, and at the same time, the countywide tax levy was killed by nearly a 3-to-1 vote. On 2 other issues before Grand Rapids voters, a charter amendment to make the library a city council unit lost by 2,000 votes, and the charter amendment for a county museum was turned down by about the same margin. Members of the pro-consolidation group say they were saddened by the millage defeat and surprised by the margin.
My reaction is that I'm deeply disappointed, particularly after 2 years of very, very hard work on this issue.
In Grand Rapids, I'm Cheryl Grant, TV 13 Eyewitness News.